Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Welcome back to my channel, CP Mom and Daughter. Today we're going to continue the conversation of using a wheelchair and why it's okay. Because after I made the other video, I had some more thoughts and memories and just things I wanted to share. Now, everybody that I reference, I'm not gonna mention their name. I have no hard feelings or anything against them. And I think they were coming from a genuinely caring place, but the stigma of needing to use a wheelchair as being a bad thing needs to change. So we've had, conversations with people where they've asked, like, do you think she'll walk? Do you think she'll be able to do this or that? And again, I have a very similar answer to what I said last time. Like, I don't know, there's always hope, but if she doesn't, that's okay too. And some people have even approached me when I've talked about how I'm thinking through the future and trying to plan of, okay, if we have this situation, what would we do? And if we have this situation, what would we do for a wheelchair? And one person told me, why are you thinking like that? Why are you doing that? She won't need a wheelchair. And to say something like that, one, if she does end up needing one, it's kind of like a dagger to me. Thankfully she wasn't around and she's young enough that, more than likely she's not going to remember that comment. But it's so if she does that make her less? And I think as a society, we come off this way. When we have businesses that aren't accessible, when we have schools that aren't that accessible, when we have churches, places of worship that aren't accessible, it kind of, I feel like those buildings are kind of saying to those with wheelchairs or even just any mobility device, if you're using a gait trainer or a walker or a cane, it's easier to get up a ramp than it is to deal with stairs a lot of the time. But when excuse me, businesses and establishments don't have other options than stairs, it kind of says, you're not welcome, or good luck getting in here. And thankfully in the Philippines, people are super, super helpful and kind. But just the fact that lifting up and down the stairs is a thing is just bothersome. Especially if I'm with Misty by myself, and if we're approaching a place with stairs, even though I know I'll get help, I know I have to have the strength to make sure that my child's not dropped, make sure that my child is, gets up there safely. And that's hard on me. My strength level is not what it could be or should be. And I also have mild cerebral palsy myself. And so that's hard. We had one incident where the place where she needed to go did not have a ramp. All they had was stairs. And she fell. She didn't get hurt. She was still in her wheelchair. She was still okay. but she fell down the stairs. So, just a minute. Okay, as I was saying, accidents, they happen. I don't blame them. They were really remorseful and felt really bad. But then the thing that was hard afterwards is I made a suggestion of getting a ramp, and they made it sound like they were gonna do it, but then they didn't. And so yeah, anyways, in this situation, she's the only kid with cerebral palsy that goes there. The other kids have other things that they're dealing with that are not mobility issues. And so maybe they just have the feeling of, oh, it's just her, it's fine. But to me, like, one child would be enough to, you know, change things and make things right and that kind of thing. And so that was hard. And even kind of getting the attitude from different family members of, you know, oh, she won't need a wheelchair, or this or that won't need to happen, or whatever. I don't want people, as her mom, to think that I'm giving up on her. But I also don't want to be in a situation where I just put all my, just put everything in one bag and just count on that working out. And then we get to the US and there have been no plans of living in a house, with just one floor, or no plans of getting a ramp. All that stuff takes time. And with that being her first time going to the US, I want her to feel comfortable. I want her to feel loved. I want her to feel welcome and accepted. And being prepared, thinking ahead, that's gonna help those things be possible. And so, and I'm reminded that it's my mindset too. I've got to make sure that when I see somebody in a wheelchair that I don't stare, that I smile, that I say hello. When I see somebody using a walker or a cane, that I say hello. And just, it takes time. It takes a mindset change. And each person has to do that for themselves and has to make that conscious decision to make that mindset change. So the people with wheelchairs and other mobility aids are looked at with dignity and respect, and as just people that happen to use things to help them get around. A lot of times we end up just seeing the wheelchair, or just seeing the walker, or just seeing the fact that the person walks with a limp or whatever, instead of seeing the smile on their face, seeing just how caring and loving of a person they are, seeing what they have to offer to society as a person. So it will take time, but each one of us can make the individual choice to not judge, not stare, to get to know them as a person. And look at our environment. If you have a business, say, would a person with a disability be able to easily get into my business? Or, if you're a deacon or a trustee or something at a church, like, would that person be able to get into my church easily? Some churches, like, they'll have the wheelchair, like, seating or whatever at the back. those people have to sit the whole entire time, and then you're gonna put them in the back so it's harder to see. So it's a lot of rethinking things and having conversations. Talk to a person that uses a wheelchair and say, hey, I have this or that, and I want to make sure that I'm providing an environment that is welcoming to you and others. Would you be willing to come alongside me and make this happen? If they're not comfortable with it, find another way. But a lot of times when it's a person that doesn't have to use a wheelchair, or isn't somebody that's helping a person with a wheelchair on a daily basis, they might not know or understand like what needs done. And so, you know, anyways, that all to say, we need to have open arms and hearts to people of all abilities, with all different types of disabilities. And if a person ends up having to use a wheelchair, it's not the end of the world. It's just a great opportunity for the rest of us to look at the world around us and say, how can we make sure that that person feels welcomed and loved and valued and important. So I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Bye. God bless.